Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up one day and realizing that life has no meaning, that everything you do is pointless. You drift through the day indifferent to your actions. The weight of such an existence is heavy, suffocating even, because a purposeless life is a tragedy. But here's the thing, you don't have to live that way. A life worth living is not something handed to you. It's something you must create deliberately, painfully, courageously. One of the foundational truths about living a meaningful life is that you must take responsibility for your own existence. This may sound simple on the surface, but in practice, it is profoundly difficult. Life is filled with challenges, suffering, and unpredictability, and it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that external forces, your environment, the people around you, or even fate itself are responsible for your circumstances. But the moment you fall into this mindset, you give away your power. And the moment you give away your power, you lose the very thing that could help you navigate through the chaos of life control. We live in a world that emphasizes convenience, comfort, and immediate gratification. Social media, technology, and entertainment are designed to give us a constant stream of distractions, taking us away from the difficult but necessary task of owning our decisions and actions. It's tempting to believe that if we could only find the perfect conditions, if we could only avoid discomfort and adversity, then we could live fulfilling, peaceful lives. But the truth is that there is no perfect moment. There is no escape from the suffering inherent in life, and the sooner you recognize this, the sooner you can take control over the most important aspect of your existence, how you respond to the world around you. Taking responsibility means rejecting the passive role of being a victim. It means acknowledging that no matter how hard the circumstances, you are the one who determines how you will face them. Life will not conform to your wishes, people will disappoint you, and things will not go according to plan. But you have a choice in how you respond to those challenges. You might be asking, what if I'm not to blame for the things that have happened to me? What if my life is full of suffering and I had no part in creating it? It's a valid question, one that deserves a thoughtful answer. Life indeed isn't always fair. We can be born into difficult circumstances, face overwhelming obstacles, and suffer injustices that are completely outside of our control. But despite all that, you still have power over how you react to those events. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that you blame yourself for everything that has gone wrong. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't acknowledge the pain of being mistreated, overlooked, or misunderstood. It simply means that you refuse to stay in a state of powerlessness. When you take responsibility for your life, you are no longer at the mercy of your past. You stop being trapped in resentment and regret because you realize that your power lies in what you choose to do with what you've been given. The first step in taking responsibility is recognizing the role that your actions and choices play in shaping your life. Often we are quick to point fingers at others or blame external circumstances when things go wrong. But deep down, we know that much of our suffering comes from the decisions we make or fail to make. We spend hours distracted by things that don't matter, neglect our health, let our relationships deteriorate, or refuse to confront the parts of ourselves that we find uncomfortable. We allow our lives to drift without setting clear intentions or taking action towards improvement. When you take responsibility, you begin by examining the choices you make every day. You ask yourself, what can I do to improve this situation? What steps can I take to create a better future? This process is not about perfection. It's about consistently striving to make decisions that align with the values and principles you hold dear. It's about taking small, intentional actions toward becoming the person you are capable of becoming. But there's another aspect to responsibility that often gets overlooked: taking responsibility for the way we treat others. We are not islands disconnected from the rest of the world. The way we interact with the people around us, the way we show up in our families, communities, and workplaces shapes the environment we live in. When you take responsibility for your life, you also take responsibility for your actions toward others. If you are unkind, neglectful, or dishonest, you contribute to the suffering of those around you. But when you act with integrity, compassion, and honesty, you help foster an environment of trust and mutual respect. The key here is to recognize that we are all interconnected. When you improve your own life, you improve the lives of those you touch. And when you make the conscious decision to treat others with respect, fairness, and care, you create a ripple effect that spreads far beyond your immediate circle. This is the kind of responsibility that leads to positive change, not just in your life, but in the world at large. Taking responsibility also means accepting that the world is not designed to cater to your whims. If you want something, you have to be willing to work for it. Life does not guarantee success just because you want it. It requires discipline, patience, and above all, perseverance. There are no shortcuts to building a meaningful life. The sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you can stop making excuses and start putting in the effort needed to build the life you desire. You must stop waiting for life to be easy, because it never will be. Instead, embrace the struggle, the discomfort, and the uncertainty as part of the process. There is something deeply liberating about taking full responsibility for your life. It puts you back in the driver's seat. You are no longer waiting for things to change or for someone else to fix the problems you face. You take the reins and you choose the direction you want to go. Sure, there will be setbacks, there will be failures, but each one offers you an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to grow stronger. The more you accept responsibility, the more you empower yourself to shape your future. Ultimately, responsibility is the key to personal transformation. By taking full ownership of your life, you stop being a passive participant in your own story. You become the author. And that is the beginning of a truly meaningful existence. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded by the temptation to seek what is expedient, the quickest, easiest path to gratification. Whether it's indulging in fleeting pleasures, avoiding discomfort, or seeking shortcuts to success, we live in an age where expediency has become an almost automatic response to life's challenges. The desire to solve problems immediately, to get rich fast, to feel good quickly, seems irresistible. But this impulse for expedience is one of the greatest threats to our capacity for living meaningful lives. The distinction between pursuing what is meaningful and what is expedient is critical, and it is one that can profoundly shape your destiny. Expedience leads to short-term satisfaction at the cost of long-term fulfillment. It offers immediate relief, but it often creates future pain, whether that's physical, emotional, or spiritual. Meaning, on the other hand, is not easily attained. It requires sacrifice, hard work, discipline, and patience. But meaning lasts. It is what sustains us through difficult times, what gives us the strength to face life's inevitable struggles. To understand the difference between the two, we first need to explore why expediency is so alluring. Humans are creatures of habit, and the brain is wired to seek rewards, especially immediate ones. We are conditioned to respond to pleasure, comfort, and relief, and these instincts have helped us survive throughout history. But in modern society, these instincts often lead us astray. When we seek expedient solutions to problems, we might get a temporary sense of relief, but we do not grow. We do not improve ourselves, nor do we contribute meaningfully to the world around us. In fact, the pursuit of expedience often leads to more chaos, more confusion, and greater suffering. Consider, for example, the temptation of instant gratification. How many of us turn to distractions, social media, entertainment, or food when we feel uncomfortable or stressed? In the moment, these distractions may provide relief. They momentarily ease our anxiety or boredom. But once the relief fades, we are left feeling empty, dissatisfied, and often even more anxious than before. This is the nature of expedient solutions. They are shallow, fleeting, and ultimately unsatisfying. We have not faced the discomfort that we sought to avoid. We have not learned to tolerate it or grow from it. The opposite of expedience is meaning, and meaning is found through the difficult and often painful process of working towards something that requires sustained effort over time. Meaning is not about what feels good in the moment. It's about what is worth doing, even when it's hard. When you pursue something meaningful, you invest in your future. You endure temporary discomfort for the sake of a greater, more lasting good. Take, for instance, the goal of physical health. If you take the expedient route, you might choose quick fixes like fad diets, crash exercise programs, or weight loss pills that promise fast results. They may work in the short term, but they are unsustainable and often come with negative side effects. On the other hand, pursuing meaningful health involves consistently eating well, exercising regularly, and maintaining a balanced lifestyle. It requires discipline, planning, and the ability to endure the discomfort of delayed gratification. But the rewards are far greater: physical vitality, emotional balance, and a sense of accomplishment that lasts. Now consider your career. The expedient route in the workplace might involve taking shortcuts, cutting corners, or seeking quick promotions without putting in the necessary work. You may achieve success in the short term, but you will likely feel hollow inside. You might find yourself in a job that doesn't fulfill you, with relationships that are shallow and a sense of internal conflict about whether you are truly contributing to something worthwhile. True career fulfillment, however, comes from choosing work that aligns with your values and passions, even when it requires long hours and hard work. It requires developing your skills, building your reputation, and being willing to put in the effort over time to create something meaningful, not just for yourself, but for those you serve. The pursuit of meaning also extends to relationships. The expedient approach to relationships might be about seeking quick validation, avoiding difficult conversations, or choosing comfort over genuine connection. We might settle for superficial relationships that are easy and effortless, but they do not nourish us. True connection comes when we confront the hard aspects of relationships, when we face our own flaws and vulnerabilities and work together through conflict, misunderstandings, and adversity. Meaningful relationships require deep commitment, vulnerability, and a willingness to invest time and energy. They grow through shared experiences, mutual respect, and shared responsibility. The core idea here is that meaning requires sacrifice. It requires you to put in effort that is often not immediately rewarded. It calls for you to resist the pull of expedience and to delay gratification in pursuit of a goal that is truly worth achieving. This is the path of real growth, the one that transforms you into the person you are capable of becoming. It is through this sacrifice that we create lasting value both in our own lives and in the lives of others. Expedience, on the other hand, is a path of avoidance. It avoids the discomfort of hard work, the discomfort of facing your limitations, and the discomfort of engaging in the hard conversations that life often demands. In the long term, it results in a life that is shallow, disconnected, and ultimately unsatisfying. When you live for expedience, you choose the path of least resistance. You opt for temporary relief rather than permanent growth. You might feel better in the short term, but you won't be stronger or more capable. In every area of life, health, work, relationships, and personal development, the distinction between what is meaningful and what is expedient is crucial. Meaningful pursuits require you to work hard, to face adversity, and to make sacrifices. But it is through this effort that you build a life worth living. You craft a future that is not just built on temporary relief, but on something that will sustain you through the inevitable trials and challenges ahead. When you choose meaning over expedience, you are choosing to live deliberately. You are choosing to be fully engaged with your life, to face your challenges head on, and to pursue the goals that truly matter. It is this commitment that will ultimately provide you with the fulfillment and sense of purpose you seek. This is the path of the courageous, the disciplined, and the wise. Life is inherently chaotic. It's messy, unpredictable, and often feels overwhelming. The world around us is constantly shifting. New challenges emerge, people change, and our circumstances are rarely stable for long. Chaos is not something we can avoid. It is woven into the fabric of existence itself. This is a central truth that we must all accept. But here's the critical part: chaos in all its forms is not something to be feared or avoided. It is something to be confronted and organized. The task of your life is to find order within this chaos. To truly understand this, we must first look at the nature of chaos itself. Chaos is a force that resists structure. It is unpredictable, unbound, and full of potential. It's the realm of possibility, the unknown. While this might sound intriguing, the reality of living in chaos is often painful. When chaos overwhelms us, we lose our sense of direction. We become anxious, confused, and helpless. Without order, chaos leads to suffering. But what does it mean to confront chaos, to face it head on, and how do we impose order upon it? The first step in confronting chaos is to acknowledge that it exists. Many people live in denial of chaos, hoping it will resolve itself, or they become paralyzed by fear of what might happen. They see the challenges ahead and retreat, avoiding confrontation or relying on the illusion that everything will magically work out. This is not only naive, it's dangerous. Chaos will not wait for you to be ready. It will come whether you like it or not. The only question is, how will you respond? Instead of fleeing from chaos, we must choose to engage with it directly. This means stepping into the unknown, facing the discomfort, and accepting that the path forward is unclear. Chaos is not something you can eliminate by wishful thinking. It requires action. The first rule of engaging with chaos is to stop avoiding it. Stop pretending it isn't there. Stop using distractions to escape from it. The longer you avoid it, the greater it grows. But once you face it, you can begin to tame it. This brings us to the second point: imposing order on chaos. The human mind is wired to seek structure. We are naturally inclined to seek patterns and meaning in the world around us. This need for order is what allows us to navigate life's difficulties with purpose and resilience. Order provides us with a framework for understanding the world. It's how we make sense of our surroundings and our place in the world. But the order we create is not just an intellectual concept, it is an action. It's about creating systems, routines, and practices that bring a sense of stability and direction in the face of uncertainty. One of the simplest and most powerful ways to bring order to chaos is through personal discipline. Discipline is the practice of making decisions based on what is good for you in the long run rather than what is comfortable in the moment. When life is chaotic, discipline creates a framework that allows you to act in a way that is consistent with your values. It is the foundation of order. In practical terms, this could mean setting clear goals, creating routines, organizing your physical space, or committing to specific actions that align with your highest aspirations. But discipline alone is not enough. In order to create real order, you must also have a clear vision of what you are working towards. Order is not simply about maintaining control over everything in your life. It's about creating a sense of direction. When chaos surrounds you, it's easy to get lost, to feel as though you are drifting with no purpose. But when you have a goal, a vision, or an ideal in mind, you begin to see the path more clearly. You begin to make decisions based on where you want to go, not where the chaos is pulling you. This leads us to another essential point: taking responsibility for the order in your own life. It's easy to look at the chaos around us and blame external factors, other people, circumstances, the government, society, or fate. But the moment you start blaming others for your situation, you give up your ability to control your own destiny. Real power comes from taking responsibility. You cannot control everything around you, but you can control how you respond to it. You can create order within your own domain. This could be in your home, your relationships, your work, or your health. When you take responsibility, you take control. Think about how you live your life. Do you take responsibility for the choices you make each day? Do you wake up and decide to make your life better even when it's hard? Or do you allow chaos to dictate your actions, drifting through life without purpose or intention? Order starts with small, everyday actions: making your bed, organizing your work, being punctual, exercising, eating well, and showing up consistently. These may seem like trivial tasks, but they are the foundation of a life that is not ruled by chaos. The more you take responsibility for creating order in your own life, the more you will begin to see the chaos recede. The third point is accepting that chaos will never completely go away. No matter how much you strive to create order, there will always be moments when life overwhelms you. There will be unexpected events, failures, and losses. In fact, some chaos is inevitable. It's part of the human condition. The key is not to expect perfect order, but to learn how to manage the chaos as it arises. You will never be in total control, but you can always regain control of how you respond. In a sense, life is a constant dance between chaos and order. It's a dynamic, ongoing process where you must constantly adjust, adapt, and find new ways to bring structure to your world. Ultimately, confronting chaos and finding order is not about achieving perfection. It's about learning how to navigate the turbulence of life in a way that aligns with your values and your sense of purpose. It's about finding strength in the face of uncertainty and knowing that no matter how unpredictable life may be, you have the tools and the resilience to create order from the chaos. When you face chaos directly, when you impose order on it, you regain a sense of power over your life. And that power gives you the courage to face even more chaos in the future because you will know that you can handle it. You will have the wisdom, the discipline, and the responsibility to make sense of the world around you. And in that sense, you will have found the true meaning in the chaos. There is a deep, unshakable power in truth. We live in a world that often seems intent on obscuring it, whether through misinformation, self-deception, or avoidance. But the reality is, this truth is the foundation upon which a meaningful life is built. It is the bedrock that gives us the clarity to navigate the complexities of our world. The act of speaking the truth always is not just a moral directive, it is a necessity for those who seek integrity, purpose, and resilience in life. At first glance, this might seem like a straightforward command. Speak the truth. After all, we are taught from an early age that honesty is a virtue. But in practice, speaking the truth is one of the most difficult and challenging things you will ever do. It means facing the world as it is, acknowledging the harsh realities of life, and most importantly, confronting the truth within yourself. We cannot truly speak the truth to others if we are not first willing to speak it to ourselves. And this is where the complexity begins. The first step in speaking the truth is to recognize that truth is not always what we want to hear. Truth often disrupts the narratives we create for ourselves. It challenges our egos, our comfort zones, and the lies we tell ourselves to avoid facing uncomfortable realities. We tend to construct illusions in order to protect ourselves, illusions about who we are, where we're going, or how we are perceived by others. But in doing so, we compromise our ability to live authentically. The truth, painful as it may be, is always more liberating than the comfort of lies. Consider how we tend to lie in the small, seemingly insignificant moments of life. How often do we tell a little white lie to avoid conflict, to keep the peace, or to spare someone's feelings? These minor deceptions may seem harmless at first, but they accumulate over time, and each one weakens our relationship with the truth. Every time we conceal something from others, we reinforce a habit of dishonesty. And worse yet, we begin to deceive ourselves. We begin to believe that lying is acceptable, that truth is negotiable. But the cost of this deceit is far greater than the temporary relief it offers. A life built on lies becomes fractured, disjointed, and ungrounded. We begin to lose our sense of self as the lies become too numerous to keep track of. The truth, in contrast, grounds us. It gives us clarity. It aligns our words and actions with reality, and it builds trust with others. This brings us to the next crucial point: the power of truth in relationships. Every relationship, whether with family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers, is based on trust. Trust is not something that can be demanded, it must be earned. And it is earned through the consistent and courageous act of speaking the truth. When you speak the truth, you create a foundation upon which meaningful relationships can be built. You establish a sense of security, knowing that you can be honest and vulnerable without fear of judgment or betrayal. Trust is not built on superficial politeness or deception. It is built on the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths together. Consider the alternative. When we choose not to speak the truth, we create walls between ourselves and others. We protect our egos and self-images, but at the cost of genuine connection. The distance that grows from dishonesty is insidious. It doesn't always happen overnight, but over time it erodes the intimacy that we share with others. Without truth, relationships stagnate, they become shallow, and eventually they wither away. The more we hide the truth from others, the more isolated we become. By contrast, the act of speaking the truth to those we care about, no matter how difficult, strengthens the bond between us. It invites openness, vulnerability, and real growth. But speaking the truth also means facing the truth within ourselves. This is perhaps the hardest part of all. It's easy to lie to others, but much harder to be honest with ourselves. We lie to ourselves when we refuse to confront our shortcomings, when we fail to take responsibility for our mistakes, or when we avoid the parts of ourselves that we dislike. We tell ourselves that we're fine, that we're doing our best, or that our problems will solve themselves. But these are simply excuses that allow us to remain comfortable in our ignorance. Self-deception is a powerful defense mechanism, but it is ultimately self-destructive. The longer we avoid facing the truth about ourselves, the more we deny ourselves the opportunity to grow. To speak the truth to yourself requires deep self-awareness and the courage to acknowledge your flaws, your fears, and your failures. It requires you to look at the person you are without the protective layers of denial or rationalization. It means accepting that you are imperfect, that you make mistakes, and that you are capable of change. But it is only through this brutal honesty with yourself that you can make meaningful progress. You cannot improve if you refuse to acknowledge where you are starting from. The truth about your current state is the compass that guides you toward growth. This is not to say that the truth is always easy or pleasant to accept. Often it is deeply uncomfortable. We may find ourselves facing truths we would rather ignore about our relationships, our choices, or our own behavior. The truth may bring pain, but it also brings clarity. It is the pain of growth, the kind of pain that leads to transformation. When you speak the truth, even when it hurts, you begin to align your life with reality. And that is when you gain the ability to truly change, to become the person you are meant to be. On a broader level, speaking the truth also means rejecting the easy path of conforming to societal expectations, following the crowd, or simply saying what others want to hear. It requires a commitment to authenticity, to speak what you believe, regardless of whether it is popular or politically correct. The truth is not subject to popular opinion or social pressure. It is not swayed by the trends of the moment or the desires of those around you. The moment you compromise the truth to fit into someone else's expectations, you lose a part of yourself. At its core, speaking the truth always is an act of courage. It requires the willingness to face discomfort, to face the consequences of your words, and to stand firm in your commitment to authenticity. The truth may not always be comfortable, but it is always the path to freedom. When you speak the truth, you free yourself from the burden of lies, from the fear of being exposed, and from the constant pressure to maintain a false image. You create space for real connection, for real growth, and for a life that is grounded in integrity. In a world that is increasingly filled with noise, confusion, and misinformation, the act of speaking the truth is revolutionary. It is a radical act of clarity in a world that often prefers illusion. And it is in this radical clarity that we find the strength to navigate life with purpose, meaning, and direction. The human capacity for aspiration is one of our greatest strengths. It is this ability to envision something greater than ourselves, something worth striving for, that gives our lives purpose and direction. To aim for the highest good you can conceive is not merely a call to dream big, it is a call to align your life with your deepest, most noble ideals. It is a directive to shape your vision of the world and your place within it, to elevate your actions to something greater than the mundane and fleeting pleasures of existence. But what does it truly mean to aim for the highest good? How can we begin to move toward it, and why is it essential for a meaningful life? To begin, we must first ask, what does the highest good mean? This is a deeply personal question, and the answer will vary for each individual. The highest good is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It is something you must discover for yourself. For some, it might involve contributing to the well-being of others. For others, it might be the pursuit of knowledge, justice, or personal growth. The highest good is the ideal you hold, the vision of the world as it could be, that motivates you to act, to become better, and to help those around you. It is an ideal that guides you through life's challenges, a North Star that directs your efforts and decisions. The problem, however, is that many people are not even aware of what their highest good is. They live without a clear sense of purpose, drifting through life based on short-term goals, external pressures, or societal expectations. They follow paths that are dictated by immediate gratification rather than long-term fulfillment. This is the essence of living in mediocrity, the absence of a guiding ideal. When you do not have a vision of the highest good, you lack direction. You wander aimlessly, responding to life's demands without any greater framework to orient you. But without direction, without a clear purpose, it's easy to become lost. To aim for the highest good, you must first decide what that good is. It's easy to be swept along by the current of societal values, to adopt the desires and aspirations of others. But you must ask yourself what it is that you want to aim for, what ideals resonate most deeply with your soul. It's about identifying the purpose that gives your life meaning. It's about reaching for something that will demand the best from you, that will challenge you to grow, that will ask you to sacrifice for something greater than your own immediate desires. The next step is setting that vision into motion. Once you have identified what the highest good means to you, the task is to build a path toward it. The path will not always be clear, and it will certainly not be easy. The highest good is not a destination, it's a journey. It's a long, challenging road that requires effort, sacrifice, and resilience. Many people abandon their ideals when the road becomes difficult or when their progress is slower than they would like. They lose sight of their highest good and settle for less because the pursuit of something greater feels overwhelming. But it is in the pursuit of this ideal that your life takes on true meaning. To aim for the highest good means that you must be willing to confront the limitations that stand in your way. None of us are perfect. We all have weaknesses, flaws, and shortcomings. We all face obstacles, whether internal or external, that prevent us from being the people we know we are capable of becoming. But if you want to aim for the highest good, you must be willing to face those obstacles head on. You must be willing to improve yourself, to acknowledge the areas where you fall short, and to make the necessary changes. This is where true personal growth comes from, when you commit to becoming the best version of yourself in pursuit of the highest good. The pursuit of the highest good also requires that you make sacrifices. The highest good is not achieved by indulging in fleeting pleasures or by taking the easy road. It requires delayed gratification, the ability to endure discomfort for the sake of something greater. It's about recognizing that in order to achieve something worthwhile, you must sacrifice immediate satisfaction for long-term fulfillment. This could mean forgoing a night out to work on your craft, putting in the time to improve your health rather than indulging in unhealthy habits, or sacrificing personal comfort to help others. The pursuit of something greater always involves trade-offs. But sacrifice is not a burden, it is a source of strength. It is through sacrifice that you gain discipline, perseverance, and resilience. Each sacrifice you make for the highest good reinforces your commitment to your ideal and moves you closer to the person you want to become. When you make these sacrifices, you not only build your character, but you also move closer to the type of person who is capable of creating meaningful change in the world. The highest good is not just about your own improvement, it's about the positive impact you can have on others as you live in alignment with your ideals. There is another key aspect of aiming for the highest good: developing a deep sense of responsibility. When you have a clear vision of the highest good, you take on the responsibility of working toward it. It is not enough to merely wish for a better world, for personal growth, or for success. You must take deliberate action to create that reality. This means taking responsibility for your actions, your decisions, and your impact on those around you. It means accepting that your choices shape the world and that you are an active participant in bringing about the change you want to see. The highest good is not achieved in isolation. It requires connection to others. As you pursue your vision, you will inevitably encounter others who share similar ideals or who can help you on your journey. The pursuit of the highest good is not about individual glory. It is about contributing to a greater collective purpose. The best version of yourself is one that inspires and elevates others, that encourages those around you to pursue their highest good as well. In this sense, aiming for the highest good is about fostering a sense of community and interconnectedness, about recognizing that our actions affect others and that we all have a role to play in creating a better world. Aiming for the highest good also means recognizing the inevitability of failure. When you strive for something greater, you will face setbacks, challenges, and disappointments. Failure is part of the process, but failure is not the end, it is a teacher. It is through failure that we learn, grow, and adapt. The pursuit of the highest good is not about avoiding failure, but about learning how to rise from it, how to continue moving forward in spite of it. Every step, whether forward or backward, is part of the journey toward a greater and more meaningful life. Ultimately, aiming for the highest good you can conceive is about living a life of purpose and intention. It's about aligning your actions with your values, making the sacrifices necessary to achieve something worthwhile, and taking responsibility for the impact you have on the world. It is a journey that requires courage, commitment, and resilience, but it is a journey that, once begun, transforms you in ways you cannot yet imagine. As we reflect on the themes of responsibility, truth, order, meaning, and striving for the highest good, we come to a simple yet profound realization: the pursuit of a life worth living is a courageous and ongoing journey. Each of these principles, taking responsibility, speaking the truth, confronting chaos, and aiming for the highest good, are not isolated goals, but interconnected aspects of a life that is intentional and aligned with the deepest values. To truly live a meaningful life, we must actively engage with the world, face the challenges it presents, and align our actions with the ideals that matter most to us. The truth is, life will never be without struggle. But it is through our response to these struggles, through our willingness to choose responsibility, speak the truth, and aim for something greater, that we find purpose, resilience, and ultimately fulfillment. None of this is easy, nor is it something that can be achieved overnight. It requires us to be disciplined, honest, and willing to confront our own flaws. But the beauty of this journey is that, as we strive for the highest good, we not only transform ourselves, but also influence the world around us. We create the possibility for positive change, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of those we encounter along the way. In the end, the life worth living is not a life free of chaos or hardship. It is a life that embraces those challenges with the courage to transform them into opportunities for growth. By aiming for the highest good, we discover the strength within us to navigate this complex, unpredictable world with purpose and integrity. And in doing so, we move closer to becoming the people we are meant to be, individuals who are grounded in truth, committed to responsibility, and driven by a vision of the good that transcends ourselves.